Hello, happy people. I hope you're having an amazing day today. Yesterday, I finished the novel, The Megazone. For you folks, it's the third book in the Freeway Warrior series, set in a post-apocalyptic Texas, and where evil criminal gangs and so forth named Havoc have struck in the pipelines and gas supplies and oil derricks and infrastructure of government across the world and so forth, and they're trying and such. And now it's about 8 years later, the radioactive dust is cleared. You are Cal Phoenix, the Freeway Warrior. It's a game book where you are playing and fighting, rolling dice at D10 in order to resolve battles and things like checking to dodge attacks or hit with a weapon, that sort of a thing. So this is book 3 of book 4 series and so forth, and you start off as a character. You are the nephew of an uncle and aunt who have a nearby oil derrick, and you are touring it underground, and it has, because of the terrorists self-sustained, like it would bring about its own foods and water supply. It had underground shelters and that sort of a thing in case an attack would hit. And you guys have been there for eight years, and you learned how to take care of things, how to work on engines, that sort of a thing. You learned how to shoot. You learned how to take care of things. Right. So anyway, so basically the idea here is that you are a character. It's a game book. So you are fighting with tossing a die 10 and that sort of a thing, and hitting to see if you can hit in combat. In combat, you'll roll, and you might get hit for damage, and your opponent might get damaged based on your dice and what your combat rating is, and that sort of a thing. And then you're also rolling it to see if you can just kill them automatically with a gun, to dodge an attack, a driving maneuver, and that sort of a thing. You have a souped-up car that you created with a guy who is a mechanic from a nearby driving race that you guys will find and reach early on in book 1, pre-book 1, and you guys will live there with about 20 people and so forth, and you call yourself Texas 1, and then you guys are a free area trying to bring back democracy and so forth against all the gangs that have survived and have definitely been destroying things after the radiation field flies. And then you are heading out and then doing a caravan, because your convoy, and you're going to have to convoy to another area because all the droughts have hit hard, and so you're just not able to grow any food, and your water's running out to your fresh water supply. And so you CB radio a nearby place called Big Spring, and Big Spring has doesn't have any droughts, but doesn't have a lot of oil. So you'll bring all that oil that you guys have plenty of with the oil derricks still in operation, or the stuff from cars and such, and you'll bring an oil tanker to them. You'll combine your communities, and then you will go from Big Spring to El Paso, and then join El Paso, which is much better stuff, and then from El Paso to Tucson, and then from Tucson to Southern California, where your parents are from, and where you are from too. Hope because all the reports are that stuff there is great. So the first book is to Big Spring Highway Holocaust. The second book is to El Paso. That was called the Slaughter Mountain Run, and this book, the Omega Zone, is your run to Tucson. You are the guard. You've got great shootings. You got 5 skills, unlike choosing one like the Kai series, although this is what Joe Dever wrote. You got 5 skills that you will start with. You got to start with 3, and then you can add 4 points to the main number. So one can get 4, or you can get divide. And those are first aid and survival, perception, close ranged combat, and stealth, and driving and shooting. So those are basically the different ones, right? And so forth. So I put 2 in shooting, and then 1 in driving and stealth. I should have put all of that in stealth, and so forth. Or the recommended one, I'd probably put 2 in driving too, because you are driving a lot and do a lot of dodges and such. Typically what will happen is that when you're doing something of a nature, you'll toss a D10 and then add your skill to it and so forth. So then going into the next one, I had 4 to stealth and so forth. And then this past one, I added 2 stealth, and 2 to driving. So my driving was now at 6, my stealth is now a 9, and my perception still is at 4, and then I have my shooting is still at 5 too. And then my wilderness survivals and checking to see how much stuff I got and so forth still at 3. And so basically the idea here is that you'll also keep 3. You can carry. You'll lose a stealth for every missile weapon you have. So if you got a rifle, sure, I can see that making you losing a stealth, or shotgun too. Shotgun or a rifle. Those are 2. So you can start with one of those 2. You can also start with a machine or a machine pistol. But those are definitely things I think are more things that you shouldn't reduce your stealth, because your melee weapons don't reduce your stealth. And so forth, which is right. And stealth is used for a lot of things. It's not just creeping around. It's basically your dexterity. Do you dodge an attack? Stealth. And that sort of thing. So stealth is used constantly, and it's also reduced by backpack size too. For every 3 items you have, it'll reduce it by 1 too. So if you got a full backpack of 10 items, you're going to have a lot of stealth reduction. And then if you got 3 missile weapons, you'll have another one. Although I don't think that just a pistol ones you count if you're big melee weapons. And then you start with a hunting knife too, with a +2 to your close combat, and then you toss close combat and endurance. I tossed a 19 for close combat and 25 for endurance. I found a weapon that's +3 to hit in close combat, so I have a 22 with it modified. Makes sense. And sometimes you'll find outside. You'll also get medikits. You can keep. You got up to 12 that you can get. And you can start with, and you can use those to heal 3 endurance points. You'll find this pretty regularly too. And then you'll also have to use. But they can't use them for and then also healing, eating meals. You have to keep, and then you got a canteen to keep free with fresh water, and you have to drink that too. And if you miss those, either drinking or the meals, you'll lose the endurance. You can't heal the endurance with first aid stuff. And then you get an ammo pouch to hold your ammo in, and it's got a maximum of 40 of 9mm or 20 of 7.62 or 10 shotgun shells, the best, but you can only carry that much total. So if you carry 10 shotgun shells, you can't carry 20 7.62 millimeters. Makes sense? So you gotta weigh it out. Good stuff. Love it lots. I think it's incredibly strong stuff. I think the book's good, fast. I read it last night in 2 days, in the past 2 days, for about an hour and a half each day. Love it lots. Thought it was great stuff. So about 3 hours. It won't take much time. It's online. It's on LinkedIn for free. He gave all of this stuff away to his fans. It's on a website called Project Aeon for the Lone Wolf stuff. That's the name of his area. His world. So there you are. Love it lots. I'm probably going to give this another 7.5 out of 10. It's great stuff. It was a great diversion. I haven't read this stuff before, so I really enjoy going back to this and checking it out for you folks. His post-apocalyptic is heavily influenced by the Mad Max stuff. You can definitely see that influence, particularly the Road Warrior. The second book that this was made after. So there you are. Have you read this? And so what did you think about it? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. If you disagree with my 7.5 out of 10, a spoiler-free review, and so forth. But basically, here you're just trying to make it in the trek. You got to go blow up some stuff. Some ammo is coming in to the big bad, and he's from across the river in Mexico, and it'll be in some ammos and some explosives and so forth, and it'll be enough to take you guys out after a couple of weeks of siege. So you got to go early on and infiltrate it and blow it up, and then get back to your colony. But things obviously will go well. That's why it's a book. The next day, so stuff happens. No spoilers and that sort of a thing. But I like it. Again, 7.5 out of 10 for you folks. If you want, so let me know what you think about it and what you thought about it. If you like this, why not hit the subscribe button, the like button, the bell icon if you're feeling notified to be notified of my 3 videos a week. I try to do some of this stuff that's the science fiction. I've also done fantasy and horror for you folks over 3 videos it is a week. So if you like this one, you definitely want to check this out and so forth. And then also previous one too. I've also, if you like all that Lone Wolf stuff, I've done the first 20 books by Joe Dever in Lone Wolf. I've also done all the recent ones, like the World of Lone Wolf 4-book series, or the Huntress that was just released, and that sort of thing. So you'll like that too. Check it out. And then I'm also doing things like rec reviews of video games on Wednesday. The Forgotten Serials on Saturday that I call Serial Saturday. I do older RPGs, or like Dungeons and Dragons stuff, or war games like BattleTech on Monday, and then I like to do video games on Wednesday. Just heads it up. All right, but if that's not interesting, you can just watch the 3 videos and move on. I won't lose any silly. So there you are, and that's the name of the channel too. That's why I care about these old things. The name of the channel is The Worst Thing About New Books. That's a quote by a French philosopher, Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about them was that they kept us from reading the old ones, right? And in this case, you're a great book series you might have forgot about, and your Devil's classic. And so there you are. And thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my videos, right? Because we all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions, right? So the fact that you spend this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it so very, very much. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.